What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Between Two Slopes. We are excited to be with you today to talk to you about the new gear for 2026. So, I'm your host, as always, Austin Rose, and I've got Trent Walker behind the camera right now. He's making sure everything looks all good. Trent, you should be good
It
to
does
hop
look
in.
good. It looks good.
We got the setup first time.
First try. We never
First
first
try.
try this ish. So that's great.
So excited to be here with Trent to talk to you guys
Always.
about the new stuff, the new gear, everything coming in for 2026. I mean, I will say this is going to be pretty heavily ski based. We'll have to dig in a little bit more on snowboards here. We just had a whole episode on snowboards last week. So the new gear, typically, I feel like it's a big ski craze more than anything.
Right. There's lots of like new things, new kind of quirks or inventions. What's that word? Innovative.
Yeah,
There's like innovative
innovations.
things this year, which is really cool to see.
Yes, agreed. Especially in the ski specific industry, right? Snowboards typically every year too. When we come out with new boards, they do new releases. Usually Burton has some new stuff coming out. We'll see a few like LibTechs and stuff, but I don't see a lot of like new innovations this year for snowboards. Mostly just like we'll talk about some of the changes in designs and like some of the new stuff coming, but there's I guess when we're talking innovations, like ski boots are changing dramatically.
Yes, so, and we'll get into that.
Yes, and bindings, to be honest. So excited to talk about that today. It's going to be fun.
It's going to be awesome. This is one of my favorite episodes that we do of the year. We've been doing this for 3 years now, so really excited for this episode. So let's dive in. We're going to try something new.
Yes,
and that is we're going to see if we can share our screen with you guys so that you can see what we're looking at, so that we can kind of dive into this together and you can see the points that we're trying to make on this new gear.
Before we hop in, I do want to take a quick second to recap, because we're starting to get into all new stuff, a whole new season. I mean, we're in February, dog. Like, we haven't even finished the ski season for 2025. I mean, here in Utah, it's kind of sad because the weather's just been like, not great. So, so we haven't. I feel like I just feel like we're just starting still. Just waiting for bigger storms. I mean, this last week was the first week we really had a big storm for the season.
I was out of town.
So I want to hit on, though, before we start thinking about next year. I want to talk a little bit about what's happened this year and what kind of gear came out, maybe some of the stuff that we were stoked for, because when we see these new releases, this becomes the best time to go buy the stuff from 2025. 24. Well,
you're absolutely
and when I say 25, it's the 24-25 ski season. The ski industry is always like a year ahead. It's weird. Right. So let's talk about that, because sales are starting right now.
Sales are going to be happening. So, one of the first things that comes to mind, and we're going to dive into this more, but ski boots got BOA systems. In 2024, 2025, but just in the lower. And, I think as someone with a high arch, I think that that's something really cool, right? Because, it can seal, but it won't be too aggressive in the way that it latches. And once again, we'll get more into that. But that was one thing in the 2024, 2025 season that jumped out at me.
Right.
What about you?
Yeah. Well, and I was watching a video on this earlier, which is that I guess they call the lower part of the boot. This is new to me. They call it like the clog.
Oh,
the clog of the boot. I don't
know if I've heard that.
So you have the upper cuff of a ski boot, and then on the bottom you have the clog. I have a snowboard boot next to me, not a ski boot. But apparently that's the thing. We had BOA systems on clogs. So
who knew? Well, let's be more specific.
Yeah, don't try and dance with it.
On downhill skis, right? Or downhill boots, because we used to have them. We've had them for a long time on, like touring boots. Right. But this is the first time they've really been put on downhill alpine boots.
Yes.
So really cool.
Yes. So very exciting. For myself, I mean, looking at this last year, I mean, I think one of the best parts has been seeing maturity of the like hybrid ski bindings.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had them for a little bit now, but Salomon came out with their, what was it, the ST16 or something?
Oh, STH?
STH, I think it was, but they had like a 16 DIN or something on them, which those were just regular downhill bindings, which were pretty cool. But there was just a lot of innovation there. I mean, we have like the Dukes that came out a few years ago with a removable toe piece. Salomon's got their shift bindings out. We're just seeing a lot more of those in the market.
With the shift bindings last year, they got an upgrade, right? They took a lot of the feedback from the last 4 years that the shift's been out, and they really listened to what people had to say and made some really cool improvements. So the Shift 2 was another innovation that was really cool from last year.
Yes. So definitely something to keep your eye out on, to look for. I mean, my pair of skis that I love, the Volcal Revolts, they had some sweet top sheets released last year, so you can go snag a pair of those on sale if they still got them, right? So,
and a lot of this is going to sound really superficial of me, but a lot of the times I'll check what the next year's graphic is and be like, if I'm eyeing a pair of skis, and I'll be like, I don't like that graphic, I'll buy this year's, or I like that graphic, I'll wait,
Right.
Once again, like a lot of the things in these standard skis aren't changing a ton.
Right.
But if you really like a graphic, then, look good, ski good.
Look good, ski good. Yeah. I love it. Well, it reminds me, I mean, skis had a decent update too. I think we had like a new Enforcer that came out this last year.
We had like the Unleash series, but I think that's 2 years old now.
Yeah. So there's some good stuff. I mean, I'm sure you're going to be able to find some sweet sales available.
Yeah.
Right.
Totally.
So, okay. What are we looking forward to this year? Before we start sharing, we'll hop in, show you guys what we've seen. What are you looking forward to for this next season?
One of the first things I saw, this was actually a couple weeks ago. So we're going to show you a page that I like to check pretty regularly about this time of year, and that's the Evo New Gear site, right? And we're going to dive into that together. But I checked it a couple weeks ago, and I saw that Armada, their ARV series, is getting a TI, which means like
crazy.
a metal sheet in it, which is huge, right? Because I feel like the ARV, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like it's a all mountain / park ski.
Yeah.
And now I feel like with the TI, it's going to be all mountain / grip it and rip it ski, right? You're really adding more diversity to this all mountain ski for those who aren't spending a lot of time in the park.
Yes,
so
agreed.
I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, the ARV series has been the flagship for Armada for years. It's always been a free ride series. I mean, they've had some great dedicated park skis in their line, and just going for people that do like to do everything on the mountain. And that ARV just kind of crushed it all, you know? And the Titanal, the addition of metal into the top sheet, it just makes it a harder charging ski.
Yeah.
Right. And you'll notice this going into like when we start hopping into these reviews and whatnot, you'll see the industry seems like they're moving towards Titanal skis this year. It is very interesting. I've seen, it looks like Head is upgrading Titanal into all their skis, and they've notoriously done carbon.
I saw that. That's crazy. That's huge.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like almost everyone besides like Line, because Line like is all about soft skis.
They're all about soft skis.
But almost everyone's gonna have at least, if not one dedicated Titanal ski, a whole line of Titanal skis.
And so it's really cool to see that. And I think of like the evolution of skis since like 2010. We had, full wood, really heavy skis.
Right.
And then in 5 years, we kind of swung into this, let's lose as many grams as we can while still having performance. We got really light skis, and some of them weren't that great. And now we're getting this shift towards metal, and hopefully it gets kind of more in the middle between really heavy and really light for performance driven, right?
Right.
I think Titanal could perform.
Yeah.
Could do that.
Yeah. It's very interesting. Myself, what I'm most excited for is Armada. They are just upping their game this next year.
All across the board.
They're hopping into the boot industry, which is crazy.
Super awesome.
This is gonna be so cool. Boots are getting an overhaul this year.
Yeah. Everyone. Also,
it's nuts.
as we look at boots, it almost makes me think of like someone's doing their homework, right? And the other kids are like, I don't know what to do. And they look over and they're like, that looks good. And they start doing it. All the boots are looking the exact same.
Yep, 100%.
Which is crazy.
Yep. So let's hop in and talk about it.
Let's do it.
Because, I mean, we're going to see here in boots, Trent and I already just started talking about this before we even went live, which is we're jumping into double BOA ski boots.
Yes.
Like, this is a big deal. If you aren't aware of double BOA, right? The BOA system is what everyone loved on their snowboard boots. The fact that you didn't have to lace anymore, you could just twist and lock up and be good to go, right? And I remember what was this 5-6 years ago in the ski shop with Trent, and we were like, dude, when double BOA hit ski boots, like, right, I'm jumping on it. Like, I'm gonna be stoked.
But let me ask you this: how often did you see double BOA snowboard boots come into your shop for repair?
All the time.
That's what I'm worried about.
Yes. There were certain brands that did it better than others. Yeah. And there were, like, Burton did a specific lacing around their BOA that, like, really helped the BOAs from snapping. You know, there were a lot of, like, low-line BOA boots that, like, the interior mechanism would just break all the freaking time. It's terrible.
And so because of that, like, even though they're solid and it's been a couple of years since we've been in the shop fixing these, I still like have a bad taste in my mouth or like a worry, you know?
Yes.
Obviously, haven't ridden one, would love to try one. If a manufacturer out there is listening, you want to send me one, let me know.
Would be great.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Let's hop in and talk about them, though. Let's see if we can get this screen share working.
Okay.
If any of you have comments, please drop them in the chat there while we're going, and we'll do our best to answer them for you today. So. All right.
If you want to drive,
yeah, we'll do.
It's black.
All right. Looks like we might have some issues. We'll give it a second to load.
Well, we saw audio. There we go. There we go. Sick. Okay.
All right.
So now go to the top. Let's start alphabetical. Let's get crazy. Hopefully you guys can see that okay.
We're scrolling all the way to the top. Yeah. It'll take a second to load here.
If you need us to let us know if that looks good. Oh, Learn to Fern said, yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Okay, sweet.
All right. Okay.
They can like see us, but only minimally.
Yeah, you guys are probably gonna notice us looking down. So watch the website.
Yeah, enjoy.
I will say before we hop in, if you want to check this out, we go to evo.com to do the new gear previews.
Yeah.
There are other sites that do it. This is our favorite by far. Evo's always just been on top of their game with new releases.
New Schoolers does a good job. Really, if you even wanted to click the link and follow along with what we're doing, I left a link to the exact page we're doing in the description below. So
awesome.
Yeah. Let's do this.
Let's take a look. Okay. So first on our list, which honestly I might be the most excited to talk about right now, is Armada.
Yeah. It's very interesting, right? We kind of spoiled it a little bit, but Armada is really coming out to play, right?
Yeah. They came out swinging this year.
Yeah. They have new boots coming out. And one thing that I want to point out with these boots is they're a 3-buckle.
Yeah.
Right? Which 3-buckle non-cabrio design.
No, it is cabrio.
Really?
It's a 3-piece design. This is crazy.
Wait.
I was just looking into this. Okay. So this is what blows my mind a little bit. We've talked about the Amer Sports Company organization, right? Amer Sports is a big conglomerate that came out in like what was it? I think it was Armada joined them in 2017 is what they said.
Really?
I don't remember, but Adidas had owned Salomon for a while. Okay. Adidas sells Salomon and Amer Sports comes in and buys them out. And they buy Atomic out, right? And then they come in 2017 and they buy Armada out. Okay. So Amer Sports owns all these guys. They own Arc'teryx. They own Wilson Basketball.
Yeah.
They just have a lot of brands underneath them. And what blows my mind why I bring this up is because typically if you compare Atomic and Salomon's, you will see a lot of similarities, specifically in bindings, they have the same bindings between all three.
Exactly.
Three brands.
Sometimes they'll have like a different color scheme,
right?
And then like a logo, or not a logo, right? So
yeah. So it's very interesting because their boots have always been different, but this is the first time we've seen a three-piece Cabrio design boot. Cabrio really reflects the three-piece design. You have a separate tongue attached to the boot. So you have your clog, if you will, the lower end of the boot. You have your upper cuff, and then you also have a tongue. So those are your three pieces, and it is a 3-buckle boot. For a second, I thought Dalbello like bought Armada or something.
Yeah.
I was like, this is a Dalbello boot.
Right.
Right.
Well, so for those of you who are still like trying to wrap your head around this Cabrio design, think Full Tilt. You know, that's Cabrio. They really made Cabrio design really popular. Dalbello has some awesome ones, but you're absolutely right. Like, other than those two, there's not a ton of Cabrios on the market.
Right.
So really, I didn't realize. I thought it was just a upper cuff, lower cuff, 3-buckle. That makes more sense. That makes way more sense, because I don't know if you guys can see my mouse, but if you look here, this is what I was worried about. But that's that tongue that he's talking about, and there you have your buckle right over the ankle.
Right.
So very unique.
Very unique. So these are the AR1 boots. I believe they said they would have a few different flex lines to them. This is the only boot they're coming out with for this year. The higher end boots obviously are going to get like a bigger booster strap on them. When I say higher end, it's really like higher flex.
Yep.
So just charge more for stiffer material. It's the industry, right? So
Learn said they give her Halo vibes.
Yeah.
So
especially that color scheme.
That's spot on.
Yeah, you're gonna be like Master Chief on the mountain.
Yeah.
Right. I'll tell you what I'm excited for, but I'm also a little worried for.
Okay.
So something you'll notice about this boot, and I kind of wish I could zoom up, or I could always try and pull another image, but I'm not gonna worry about it. So this is a 3-piece buckle, like we talked about. What they're doing is they're gonna have one buckle over the toe, one buckle at the top of the cuff, and then one buckle centered in the middle. But if you look, so it's going to be attached with like a cord running through the buckle itself.
Yep.
And then that middle buckle will tighten that cord down to try and pull the ankle back into the boot. What I'm a little curious about is when we've seen this done in the past, Dalbello does this. They used to move the buckle directly like over top of the ankle. Some people it worked for, some
like the
didn't.
ankle bone, right?
Yeah, right over that ankle bone, and it caused a few issues for a bit because people were having like rubbing and hot spots, and you couldn't punch that area out to customize it. This one, they've kept the buckle like in the same spot as a regular boot, where you have like the buckle's like on the bottom of the clog there, right? And my concern is going to be a higher tension of downward pressure than backwards pressure. Trying to point, instead of pulling your foot back in the boot, it might have some pressure coming down. That's my biggest concern with the boot, because this is the highest performing buckle. So you want this tight.
Absolutely.
Right. This is the one you want to lock your foot back in.
It's doing the most work because it's holding your whole ankle and heel into the pocket. So if it's downward pressure, like Austin's saying, then you're not going to get the ankle lock that you want to really get good energy transfer.
Absolutely. The other thing that could happen is like cutting off some blood flow because of your veins on the top of your foot. I will say the nice part about this is that 3-piece tongue should eliminate that.
Yeah.
Right. Theoretically, that should help deviate that pressure. So if you try this boot on in the shops, like I haven't tried it on yet. I want to go try it on. Keep an eye out for that pressure. Flex into the boot a lot, walk around a little bit, and see if you're feeling any pressure on the top of the foot more, or if it's actually locking your ankle back.
Yeah.
So.
Another thing I want to point out with this boot that I just realized now is if you look at the toe, we have pins, but if you look at the heel, we don't have pins in the heel.
Yes,
right?
yes.
So this is actually new for Atomic. Started doing this, I think, 2 years ago. And really what this boot is it's made for a shift binding, right? Because it has a standard lug in the back of the boot, so you're not going to be able to use like a kingpin with this, or you could use a kingpin, but you couldn't use like your traditional normal designated backcountry binding, right?
Yeah.
Because it just doesn't have the same heel lock. So really shift driven, marker hybrid driven. When I say marker, I mean marker kingpin. So
it's a hybrid boot for a hybrid binding.
Right. Exactly.
They do offer the Tech Toe, which is what is used for your backcountry travel. That's offered in the stiffer classes only. That's like the 120, 130 stiffness boots.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Anything lower, it's standard downhill.
Interesting.
Boot. So, yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
We've talked about doing something, and maybe it might be easier now, but we should go to the shops when they get all their stuff in.
Oh, yeah.
Put our hands on stuff. Put our feet in things.
Yeah, maybe next week or so next episode we'll give you some feedback.
Yeah. Okay. But they're not going to have this boot yet. Anyways.
That's probably true.
So the ARV 106 Ti.
Right.
Looks super clean. Armada always has great top sheets. But the idea of this boot or this ski is really intriguing to me because you're putting metal in a ski that people already love. So I'm interested to see what the feedback is. I would bet that it would be really positive, at least for the people like me who would like a little more stiffness to something like the ARV.
Absolutely. And honestly, I mean, I love the design they're going with this year. Top sheet looks sick.
Super clean.
Nice. I would be very intrigued in trying this ski out. The big push with Titanal in the skis, and Titanal is basically like, I don't want to call it a revised version of titanium, but that's kind of what it is.
Yeah.
It's just like a modified version. Basically, the big drive with this, whether you're running a full sheet of Titanal or you're running stringers through it or like little small pieces or just the mounting plate, the idea is to give more stiffness to the ski, a little more weight to the ski, and ability to dampen vibrations.
Which is huge, right? Like back 10 years ago when the Soul 7 was all over the mountain, right?
Yeah.
The biggest complaint with that ski was that it had some chatter to it. Put some metal in a Soul 7 now, and that ski could come back to life and rule the market.
100%.
Oh my gosh. 100%. People would lose their minds.
Yes.
So yeah, Titanal really does have a place in the market right now. I think this is an awesome addition.
Yep.
Really cool.
And why I would ask is because majority of skiing these days is crud skiing. Right. We love powder, but we all know, I mean, especially in Utah, to get a powder day and to how long are you going to be skiing powder on a powder day? Right. Generally, we're not getting what we call refills, or if you are, there's so many people on the mountain that those refills are just taking up.
Everything's going quick. And so something that can hold up a little better can still give you a powder feel and vibe.
Oh yeah.
But then when you hit something kind of choppy, you're not bucked from it, right?
Yeah.
So
yep. And you can ski it every day, know. So
and 106 prime waist width. Oh my gosh, so good.
Oh yeah.
So
I love it. All right. So moving on, other parts of Armada, just mentioning that they're updating their top sheets on their ARWs as well.
Yeah.
Kind of going with a new floral design. I like it, dude.
I think it's clean.
I dig it. I'm like,
well, I'm here, and as you look at all these skis and different things, a lot of the times the only thing that changes will be the top sheet.
Yeah.
So that's why Austin and I get really excited when something other than the top sheets change.
Yes. Yep. And so we'll scroll pretty quick through the top sheet changes. We'll take a quick glance at them, but usually there's not much.
Yeah. Usually we're like, that's cool. Next.
Yep. Go in the shop and look at it.
Yeah.
So here's another view of our Halo boot.
Yes.
From Armada.
Master Chief Edition.
Yes. That would be sick.
Yeah.
So you can definitely see where we're talking about, where that buckle is located more on the bottom, where if you look more where the heel pivot is, this is where historically other manufacturers have put the buckle when they've gone with this design. So, yeah.
Some sweet top sheets.
Just to give it a little better look, if it'll pull up.
I love this. It creates a story throughout all of them.
Oh, yeah.
That's sweet.
It's another reason why I love Armada.
So clean.
They generally find street artists to help do their graphics and whatnot, and they blend a whole story when you put all the skis next to each other. It's pretty cool.
So cool. They do a good job.
Oh yeah. So I actually think the pictures are bigger, not even clicking on them. So
Yeah.
so you can see a new update with their, it looks like their Adolo skis as well. And then Armada's got their Zero collection over here on the right
Their
side.
Zero collection always looks so good.
Oh yeah, I mean we've got a Zero in the background right here. So you can see, I mean, this Zero, this is their 116, which is one of their wider ones. I think at the time it was the widest. I don't know if they made one larger yet.
They have a 121 now, the White Walker. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, yep, the White Walker. So, but you can see, I think that's the Zero 116 right there. I mean, kind of same look still. So they like a minimalistic look for it. So
which they do a great job.
Yeah. Zero for zero weight, trying to reduce weight for backcountry style performance. So, okay.
Atomic.
Trent, this is your baby right here.
I love Atomic. I
want to hear this.
Great things. So the Remedy 130, I haven't read too much into this, but it's race inspired. So what that makes me think is this is going to be high performing downhill boot, and you're probably going to get a little more weight.
Yes.
Right. And really what that's going to provide is just someone who's really aggressive is going to love this boot.
Yep.
And someone who weighs less than 130 pounds will hate this boot. Right. Because it's just not made for them. But you got your power strap, 4-buckle, classic. I'm sure they just put as much of their like heavy duty materials into this.
Yeah, this is a blast from the past type ski boot, right? From what I can see, what I read on it, I mean, you hit everything right on. Their thought process with the Remedy is to take from their ski race line and create a more free ride boot based off of the same aesthetics from the same designs from their racing line. Right. Like, so I don't even see a walk mode.
Nope, no walk mode.
This is very traditional, very heavy, durable boot. And their thoughts when they were talking about it was that a lot of ski racers are getting into free ride skiing, and they're seeing a lot of high performers in the free ride market that like traditional racing style.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting to me because this is the boot that like is going the opposite direction from the rest of the industry, where everyone's going hybrid and they're kind of going back to basics.
Yeah, they're doubling down.
Yeah.
I think is awesome.
I'm actually curious about this because we've talked about the benefits of weight, right? Everyone's been going, how can I have less weight? I want less weight. It's easier to walk. If I want to go backcountry, I mean, that makes a huge difference. Right. But then when we talk about ski performance, weight then can counteract. You can have more benefit from weight, right? Having a denser ski boot can help cut through crud, can help transfer a little more power through your turns and feel more stable.
Yeah,
so
totally.
This could be a pretty sweet boot.
And I like your point where, you got ski racers coming off the hill and they want to go ski, not their race lines, but they get in another boot and they're just muscling it to death, right?
Yes.
Something like this, they would love.
Oh yeah,
they would love this boot.
If you are a high performing skier and you want something that's stiff, that's going to hold you down, try this boot out. This is going to be a sweet one. Now, if you are a little more of a casual skier, I would stray away from this boot.
Probably not.
A 130 is stiff.
Yeah.
A heavy 130 too. I mean, this is going to be a beast on the mountain. So, yeah.
But for the right person, it'd be really cool.
Yes. I will say though, that color, I don't know, man.
It just reminds me of like a sand dune.
They call it the butter color.
Nailed it. Nailed that name. Nailed that name.
When you pair it with their skis, it looks pretty cool. But if you're not buying their set of skis and you're riding like the Zeros or my vocals back here, I'm kind of like, ugh.
It's just superficial. How dare you?
I know, but hey, it's a thing. We all think about it. Oh,
all right.
Looks like we have a comment here. Somebody likes the boot.
Yeah. Lauren says it's so cute.
It's cute.
It's cute.
All right, Lauren. We'll accept it.
This is what Awesome and I started talking about. The dual BOA.
Yes.
I have
big deal here.
I have reservations. We'll just put it that way.
Yeah.
Love the BOA on the clog. Love the BOA on the clog. I would be strongly into a BOA on the clog because I have a high arch. But we see that, the upper cuff is connected to one BOA, right? And once again, with the bad taste in my mouth, if that breaks, or how much impact is that going to be able to take?
That is a concern.
You know, okay.
When you think about skiing down the mountain, like what would ruin your day more than leaning into your boot or like hitting a jump in the park? Or Trent always takes me into the park and he kills it, and I always eat it.
I just hold still in the air. I don't kill it. He's giving me way more credit than I deserve.
But the thing about this is if you are taking an impact on this boot, that's the fear. Is that BOA going to hold up? Can you put some impact into it? Because if you bust it, like your day on the mountain's over.
Yeah, you're done. And BOA is really cool where they do offer lifetime warranty, which is super sweet. But then you got to go down to the shop. You got to give your equipment to the guys for at least a day,
right?
At least, right? And if you're on a ski vacation, I could blow your whole vacation up, right?
100%. Yeah.
And then, as Austin and I were talking about this before, speak to the adjustments up and down that you were telling me.
And I don't want to dig into it too hard because I'll tell you here, I haven't skied on these yet. Okay. There are people that have mentioned that they're really excited, that they've actually skied really well with these boots. Okay. So the BOA has made strides in being a bit more durable. There are boots like Burton boots that, when they're snowboard boots, that wouldn't break as often. Snowboard boots don't take the same kind of tension and strain as a ski boot does, though.
Because they're sharing it with the binding, right?
Yeah. The binding is what's taking the pressure on a snowboard. So it's a little different. So I'm really excited to try this. Now you'll notice when we talk BOA boots, and you might see, I don't know if you can see my dog in the video.
She's here saying hi.
Yeah, Bella, our ski, my little ski
mascot
dog. Yep. Our mascot for Between Two Slopes is saying hi to everyone. So when we talk about BOA, and I scroll down, you'll see everyone is doing these dual BOAs. Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Like, whoever did it first was like doing their homework. Yep. And then everyone else in the industry was like, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that right there.
Do it now. Do it now. So I think what's going on here is BOA's technology, because obviously BOA is a separate company. So they own the buckles and the lace. I think they also own the design on where the attachments are on the ski boot. Yeah, because they all look the exact same. There's no difference in BOA between how it cinches or if there's any placement of the buckle. None of that is changing between any of the ski boot manufacturers.
Wow.
Which is weird, right? So that leads me to think that that's also owned by the BOA manufacturer.
Their patent or something?
Yeah, that they've got a patent on that design for where it's placed on the boot itself. Because there would be no way that would happen as a standardization.
Let's just say, what a time to be an employee of BOA.
What a time. Yeah, right, killing it. So
looks like Chelsea said that's the new color of 2025. KitchenAid also featured the butter color. I think it's cute too. That's amazing. I didn't know that.
The color of 2025, butter. KitchenAid. Hey, Atomic and KitchenAid.
Right there.
Right there.
Tight.
I love it.
Thick as thieves.
It's thieves.
All right. What's next?
Okay. So I wanted to, like we said, before I start scrolling, let's hit on BOA a little bit here more. Goods and bads. So,
yes.
One of the concerns about the BOA upper cuff is you're going to notice that you tighten both the top buckle and the mid buckle. So we call them buckles 1 and 2, right? Starting from the top of the boot. Both of those tighten uniformly at the same time. Okay. Right. So in order to customize, you really have to know how far you want to move the buckle up the ladder when connecting the boot to be able to get your custom tightness. Because if you are a little loose in the ankle but tight on the top, you can't just tweak one of them, right? You have to actually undo it and then move that ladder adjustment one forward to try and customize it. So there's a little bit of criticism coming from people trying these boots on. Some people, they say it fits really well and they don't have a problem. Others are saying, hey, I need to get my ankle locked down even tighter, especially traditional skiers, right? The older generations are so particular on the performance and tightness of their boot, and especially like ski racers, like we just talked about. I doubt they'll be buying BOAs until, for a while, because they're very specific and very traditional on having that tightness in the ankle buckle, right?
It also makes me think of, women's ski boots, the upper cuff actually hits lower than on men's ski boots. And that's because typically the women's calf muscle is lower on the leg than the men's, right?
Yeah.
And so I've fit boots where I've had to rely on buckle number 2 being tighter than buckle number 1 because they couldn't get buckle number 1 to a place where they wanted it to be without hurting their calf muscle, right? And so looking at this and thinking of that makes me think that this is not for that customer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's a good point. It'll be very interesting to see that, especially if you have a unique foot or like a really big calf, really big, I want to say lower leg. I'm thinking of the muscle of what that bone is called. Was
Like
it
a shin?
tibia or
I
something?
don't know.
Yeah. So when we've had customers that have thick, just tree trunk legs,
Right.
thick legs, they tend to not be as customizable,
Yeah.
unfortunately, for this customer.
So I could feel like that would be a struggle for them.
Yep.
But we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So,
Gotta try them on,
right?
right? Gotta try them on.
I will say something interesting to note on these two is it seems like they're all coming only on like stiffer boots right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
Okay.
you're getting them in like higher end boots.
Yeah.
As far as like paying for 100s, 130s. I think Atomic said that for these ones, they're only available in the 100 and the 130.
What the?
Or yeah. See right here at the end, dual BOA in 130s and 100 flex models.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
Which is weird because I think of BOA as a very comfortable fit, right? Which is typically what people have said is it does fit very comfortably, without any like pain points from the metal buckles. So this is kind of weird.
I'm confused. So on the like bell curve of ski boots, and obviously I'm not in the shops anymore, but from what I know from boot fitting for years and helping people is the bell curve, most people should be, at least most men, should be in a 100 to 110.
Yeah.
Most men. And that's like peak of the bell curve.
Yeah.
And for women, that would be like 85, right? Somewhere around there. And then you start dipping as you get into 130. Your market for 130 has got to be so much lower. So I'm wondering, like, why 130 and 100?
Right.
Right. If it was me, I'd do like 90, 100, 110.
Yeah. I'll tell you, if this was in a 70s like ski boot and even an 80s, especially in the women's line, we'd be selling that all day.
Cakes.
Right?
Yeah.
Dude, people coming in looking for comfort, this is going to be a great accessory.
Not only you could be like, this is comfortable, but watch this. Bam, you're ready.
Easy. Get up,
done.
Go.
Get out.
Right? And kids boots, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
So we do need to check into that because Evo doesn't do anything on kids gear typically.
Yeah.
So if we got BOA on kids boots this year, like
that'd be
game
cool.
changer.
And here's the thing, on a kid's boot, like I think about Maven, my daughter, you just do upper cuff, one BOA, lock it, done.
Easy.
You don't need any more than that. You know, that'd be sweet,
right? So, all right, let's move on here and talk a little bit about Atomic's other releases. We've got Maverick and Maven skis. So this was their replacement for the Vantage series, typically that came out.
I love the Maven and the Maverick series.
Yeah, you do like that name, Maven.
I do.
You? So
it's a great name.
Trent named his daughter after these skis. So no,
came out the same year as my daughter was born.
So Maverick and Mavens though. So like I said, replace the Vantage series of Atomic. Which honestly was a great series. It just was great entry-level skis that really could take you to a good intermediate level.
Totally.
They were cheap as far as cost was concerned.
Yep.
Like very low cost.
They had a decent tech to them where like the wood was thicker on the outside of the ski than the inside, right? Like they were cool.
Yeah, they carved really well. And so they replaced them with the Mavericks and the Mavens, which then started running Teton through their skis, right? So maintaining the same idea. Hard carving skis. They're nice and nimble on the mountain still. And honestly, I love what they're doing with their top sheets this year.
I think they're great.
They're looking good.
The other thing that I really like is it was a couple of years ago, they started putting Horizon Tech in like all their skis.
Oh, yes.
And I love that. The Horizon Tech cuts down on swing weight, allows you to surf better. And so putting that in a ski like the Maverick and Maven is genius, right? Because you're turning this front side killer ski into something that's more versatile. Yeah. Really cool. Really cool option.
So move on here a little bit, realizing we're still in the A's.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe I'm in the minority here, but the new Ben Chetler top sheets in the last couple of years haven't been doing it for me.
Nah, I agree. I mean,
can't.
I do like this is the Ben Chetler series you're seeing now, designed by Chris Ben Chetler. I do like his graffiti style on these. I mean, if I match that wide 120 Ben Chetler, this is like what you see on the right is like typically the flagship model.
Yeah,
right?
That's the 120.
Dude, if you match that with that like butter boot, like we're hitting KitchenAid now. Like, yeah, we are killing it.
One thing I will say is, so if you look at the far left, that's got to be like the 90. Yep. That's what the Horizon Tech used to look like. You see how it doesn't go all the way through?
Yep.
The Horizon Tech on the rest of these, you can see it's all the way through. It looks more like the Smear Tech.
Yes.
From Armada.
Yep. So
which is really interesting.
What Trent is saying here is the one on the left, you can see a line from the tip down to the side of the ski.
It's like a V shape.
Yep. And then when you look at these other lines, it kind of curves and it comes down. It doesn't actually connect to the top there.
Yeah, exactly. Right? So more of that Smear Tech, but still, I mean, owned by the same people doing the same thing.
Doing the same thing. So, and idea to help direct the line of flow when you're going through tips into deep snow, basically.
Exactly.
So
okay, we gotta start kicking it up.
Yeah. So we've just got some more pictures here. We'll scroll down a little bit just so you can see. I mean, like I said, I like that atomic look. It's clean. So Black Crows. Okay, so we don't talk much about Black Crows, and Evo didn't give us much to work with. They gave us pictures.
Yeah. Okay. That's it. No real updates.
The only thing I'd say, Black Crow, typically, I mean, they're good skis. Like, people have enjoyed riding them. They had been a little picky about their demo options in the past.
Yes.
It's been kind of hard to get a hold of one. So I definitely want to go try them out a little more. From what I take, they do ski very similar to like the Maverick series, if you would, from our Atomic.
Yeah, I know that they have a really awesome like pro deal. So I know that you'll see them on the mountain ridden by a lot of ski patrollers. It's just because they're getting sweet deals on them, right? So
yeah, I don't know. I like the look of the skis, but I'm kind of tired because they do the same thing every year.
Right. I don't even love the look of the skis.
Yeah. Just Black Crow, do something different.
Ethan says those are my vibe.
The Black Crows?
The Black Crows or the Atomics? Let me know.
Yeah. Put a little note in there.
Which was it? We're going fast here. All right, now we're on to Blizzards. Blizzards are like tried and true though.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong with a Blizzard ski. They're a little heavier, but like we talked about, adds performance.
Yep.
They always do a pretty good job at their top sheets. What are these?
Yeah. So Blizzard, really, there's nothing new coming out with Blizzard. From what they mentioned was what you see on the left are the Rustlers.
Dude, give me a pair of those.
Yeah, right? And like over here, these are the Rustlers on the side.
Says Black Crows all the way.
Black Crows all the way. See, like I said, some people love them, man.
That's great.
They're good skis. Yeah. Like the way of the ski is actually decent, but like, I don't know, man. I can't buy the top sheet.
Sheet's not for me. But I'm also not buying skis based off their top sheet.
So, okay. Hopping over to Blizzard, Blizzard over here. So they're showing off kind of their new lines that came out in the previous years. The Shiva, is a little more all mountain ski on the left side there. And then we've got the Rustlers, which is their flagship model for powder snow and kind of all mountain skiing. I love Blizzard skis.
Yeah.
I loved their groomer models. I love their the Kochi series, and they got into the Bonafides and the Brahmas. Yes. They know how to build a solid ski. It's comfortable to ride. Amazing. It's easy to turn. They are a little more expensive. They tend to stick to a very traditional feel, though.
Yes, they do. Yeah. So they're really for, that person who's been skiing for a long time. knows how to drive their boot into their ski and get the performance that they want. That person will love this ski. Let me ask you this. In your many years of selling skis, how many Black Pearls did you sell?
I knew you were going to ask me that. The Black Pearl, it's a tricky question because I always went to go sell one and there weren't any there.
Right. Because I had already sold them all.
Because Trent took them all and hit them. Yeah. The Black Crow, or the Black Pearl was one of the go-tos for women's models, especially when you're talking to put like an age group on it, typically 40 and up. It would be an all-day ski for someone that, because when I talk 40 and up, women generally are asking me for a ski that's like easy to use, that's going to be fun on the groomed slopes. They could hit a few different terrain like off to the side, but they're really looking for something to just last them all day and have a good time on.
And they're looking to stay on the groomers.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Avoiding painful spots, which is why I love the blizzards too. Because I'm like going into my old man age. I mean, I'm 29, bro.
I feel that.
29.
29. Okay. Well, sweet. Let's keep going.
Yeah. For sure. If you do want an all mountain free ride type ski from Blizzard, though, the Wrestlers, they're sweet.
Super cool.
You can butter those skis. You can do a lot with them, and they're kind of they're not talked about as much as they should be.
Yeah. So here you're getting, more double boas. On the right, you see this is like a true cabrio design, right? That's that three-piece we were talking about. Dalbello's always had that. They do it really great, like the Krypton line.
Absolutely.
Other than the boa and new color palettes, I don't think we have a ton of updates.
No, I am glad that they kept with some of their traditional boots still. I will say, I mean, Dalbello, does a great job. I mean, as a boot fitter. Some people, I swear, every year people are like, "Are they new? I've never heard of them before."
Yeah. Do you carry that Diablo brand?
That Diablo, like Dalbello.
Yeah.
So, no, it's a great boot. If you can get in and try them out, they haven't really changed much because they've just been solid all year. So I am excited for them to mix things up a little bit though in the future, and hopefully maybe get some more hybrid boots.
They had a couple years ago. They came out with a very unique, pure. Hey Bella, you're distracting me. A pure backcountry boot that was really unique because it was, clog.
Well, they had the Lupo.
Yeah.
Is that what you're thinking of?
No, not the Lupo. It's like pure backcountry. Instead of doing like clog and uppercut, it was clog like this, like it came sideways.
Oh yeah.
And so the molding was different, but very unique.
Yeah.
Right. So
definitely. Yeah. All right. Oh, and for Chelsea Chic, they do have a buttery color for you there. And I think Ethan, we could find something to match the Black Crows for you.
No doubt we could. No doubt.
All right. So we'll notice here, just what I'm skipping over: DPS, Black Diamond, Dynafit, Dynastar. None of those have really come out yet with their new releases. Dynastar we'll see soon because they work with Rossignol. Yeah. And Rossignol's come out with theirs.
I'm a little surprised we haven't seen Elon's.
Yeah, but I'll tell you they haven't changed.
Sorry. That's amazing.
To throw that out there.
You're so right. You're so right.
We'll see the ripsticks again, and they'll probably look very similar.
Yep.
So
and they'll ski very similar, which is great.
Yeah.
Factions always are really. I feel like they're tailored to park riders.
Yes.
Right? I didn't see any updates other than top sheets this year.
No, I mean, if you're familiar with faction skis, really the big, the flagship stuff is Candide Thovex.
Yeah.
And I think they've got like three or four different models for the Candide Thovex based skis. Candide Thovex is a YouTube sensation from France.
He skied the Great Wall.
Yes, he skied in the ocean.
Yes,
he's done a lot. So you can look his stuff up. Really cool. The idea behind their skis is something that's durable, fun, all mountain, can really do everything. I'll say they are generally geared towards hard packed snow and crud.
Yeah.
They tend to be like Trent said, we lump them a lot into park style and freestyle type skiing. Like to kind of jump around, mess around, but I wouldn't want to go down like a steep double black. You know, I wouldn't want to take them in a shoot. Yeah. So
I feel exactly the same way.
Yeah. But they do have some good color lines. I mean, them, and you'll see with Line here, they're going like very 2000s, very 90s, 2000s era.
Is this Guitar Hero over here? What the heck?
Yeah. Right? Isn't that crazy?
Those crazy. Are the Prodigy.
Yep, which is a big park ski.
Yeah, they're super popular.
Yeah. So
all right, moving down into Head.
Yeah. So Head and Tyrolia, man. I'm excited to talk about these.
I'm excited. I have strong opinions about Head skis.
Yeah.
So when my first year working in the shop, Head Ski had just come out with like this new line with the graphite top sheet, big deal.
The core.
Yeah, the core, exactly. They had a core for every size of person, and
the really core 105 was like a big deal.
It was a big deal. And the core 99 was a big deal.
Yep.
And I got on that ski and I had a terrible time. And maybe it's because I wasn't skiing it right. Like I've learned a lot since then, but when I think of those skis, I think of something that's just really stiff for not having metal in it, right?
Yeah.
Usually you're like, oh, this is really stiff. It's got metal in it. It's going to give me play other ways, right?
Yeah.
When I was on the cores, I was like, this is really stiff and I can't get it to come to life to save my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
However, they're adding TI. So when I see that, I try to remove that stigma and think, maybe they put a little more life into their skis and then put the TI in it or put the Titanol in it so that it still feels like the way that other people really enjoyed it, but gave it a little more life for people like me.
Oh, yeah. I think you nailed it. The graphite core skis were very dense and they were not a playful type ski. There were some people that would go play on them and they would love it because it would like absorb a lot of impact. But I don't know, man. They just didn't strike the market the same way. It was a big craze for like the first year, and then it kind of died.
Yeah, right? I was in Steamboat. I was slinging those things left and right.
Yeah,
but yeah.
So I am excited to see this. It looks like we also have in their model here.
It's going all the way up to 118.
Yep, 118. Got some specialty models, which is pretty cool. I like the white ones there.
Yeah, that's super clean.
Yeah. Head also updating their boots because we obviously have Head boots. Right. Just showing off their new dual zone BOA. So you can see, again here, guys, like looking at the BOA tech, everything is the same. There is no difference between these. So what you're going to be seeing is buying, like really go for a shell fit if 100%. You're buying BOA boots.
Yes.
Get that perfect shell fit and check out your liners. I've heard some people say the 3D wraparound liners have provided more security in the ankle when using a BOA boot.
Like an Intuition liner?
Yep, an Intuition liner. You can buy them separate. I think they're like $200. Yeah. So they're a bit expensive, especially when you're paying $600 or $700 for a dual zone BOA anyway. But people have said that those liners have helped a lot to just secure the ankle down, especially with these type of boots.
Something like this.
I had to throw that in there for you.
Sweet. I like that colorway though.
It does. It looks good. I like the blue.
Good. Super clean.
I've seen this teal blue in like a lot of the women's models, but this looks like it could be in the men's line too, which is sick. So I think it looked great.
We talked on that K2 skis and boots.
What was this though? This was their this is their new one.
Yeah, that's just the
that's the 118.
Yeah. K2 boots once again, double BOA.
Yep. So really nothing different there. They are doing a throwback with the full tilt type boots.
Well, so they've been doing full tilt style boots because full tilt was owned by K2.
Yes.
For a long time, and then K2 said, "We're tired of having full tilt be called full tilt. It's going to be called K2."
Yeah.
When did that switch? 2-3 years ago?
No, it was more than that.
Was it?
Yeah, it was while we were in the shops. So it was like 6 years ago, I think. Yeah. It was honestly, they killed the vibe.
They really did.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I was at level 9, people would come in and say, "I want a full tilt boot."
Yeah, they had a cult following.
They did, and now they're just called K2. Really, the person who benefited the most from it was the athletes who were skiing full tilt boots and K2.
Yep.
Because now they could just go to one guy. Like, it's just lame.
Yeah. So it looks like they're just doing some throwbacks with their Hellbent series. Not bringing it back, but just having some throwbacks.
Like colorways.
So, yep. Cool. People are excited about
Sick.
the boas.
I'm pretty sure that's also a KitchenAid color.
Yes, but this is a cooler color. This is like a retro, like old school fridge, tealish, like seafoam green, right?
Yeah.
This is I dig it. So, Chelsea chic, pair that with the butter. Now you guys.
Now you're talking. Chelsea said, dang, the black and white TI is sweet. Can't believe I'm saying that because butter all the way looks bougie. And then Lauren said she was thinking the same thing. So fancy.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. I think we need to get a little more into women's skis. You know, we've got some great viewers making comments here. So
Chelsea said she'd get those teal ones for sure.
Right? Oh, they look good.
Okay. So, other than top sheets, are we getting any changes in K2?
No. I'm trying. These are the Reckoners, I believe. I don't think they've changed their models or anything as of late. And the Mindbenders. Do they own that?
Yeah. What are the Mindbenders? Were classic.
Yeah. So really, I think it's all about the boots this year.
Yeah.
So
Lang, I'm curious to see what Lang does if they're double boa.
Train. Right.
I'm sure they are.
Yeah.
Line
skis.
Okay. There's very few times when I'm like, this top sheet, I could never buy this ski. This year, the Sir Francis Bacon is that ski for me.
You wouldn't ever buy it?
I would never, even if I was like, this is the greatest ski in the world, I could never buy that.
I have the same opinion. I am a little disappointed, to be honest.
Because it used to be, do you remember the Sir Francis Bacon had the shark on it?
Oh, yeah.
And then the base looked amazing. And they had the outline that year with like the eagle thing.
Oh, yes.
Like so sick. Bring Eric Pollard back.
They're missing out.
Yeah. And we'll show you.
Yeah.
Just show them.
So the blend, they've just talked about like upgrading some of the tech. I always miss their fancy words they use. They have like the smear. I think they even call it the blend because they blend tech stuff.
Yeah.
They blend different types of tech through it. But basically everything, other than that, they're changing a few things. Everything else is really going more just graphic, to be honest.
Yeah.
I hate to say, they say thin tip tech, technology, thick cut sidewalls, urethane bumpers. I mean, to be honest, it doesn't tell me much. Using bioresin is a new thing for just using a more biodegradable substance. This stuff doesn't really change the ski all that much, though. You might notice small differences in spots, but really these models stay the same.
Well, and I think of like thin tip, I'm like, Armada's been doing that for years and years and years.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah.
Not to say Line isn't good.
No. I mean, they're really catering to their audience.
They're just
those that like
not
them.
For Austin.
So, really big in people that like a playful ski.
Yeah.
And if you like to play around on the mountain, like doing butters and doing tricks and like wanting to just like spin around. If you're trying to ski aggressive, though, this is why I don't like line skis for myself. I haven't found a pair yet that can keep up with how hard I ski, especially in crud and moguls and trees.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to over ski them because they're too soft.
Yep.
So
I did the same thing. I got on a pair of Bacons, the 108s, and I was like, these are my Devastators, but not as
stiff and
not what I'm used to.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this though. I don't know if you saw this, the Pandora line is no longer women's specific.
Oh.
They made it unisex.
That's good to hear, actually.
Yeah.
I do like that Pandora line. It is a cool ski. It has that kind of geared towards a more all mountain type design, which is what I look for. So
yeah,
I like that. Totally. So you'll see here, we've got the Tom Walsh Pros, big in their Park series. They're really going 90s, like 90s, 2000 graphics. Here are the Bacons.
Like,
So you know what this is, right? This is bacon.
I hate it. I hate it. And let me tell you, they're named the Sir Francis Bacon, right? That is a traveler, right?
Yeah.
And so now they're just like, oh, it's the bacon. We'll make it bacon. I'm like, it's too on the nose. It looks bad.
Yeah.
Who okayed this in the boardroom?
It's not very appealing to me.
No, it drives me insane.
Yeah.
The one on the right's the best.
It's still
but
though.
They're still bad.
The look of raw bacon isn't an appealing look.
No.
So
and let us know if you think otherwise, because this is a place where all opinions matter.
Right? I mean, I am curious. What does this say?
Learn said it looks like the phases of cooking bacon. Nailed it.
I agree.
Yeah. Start with the raw, move into the cooked, move into the crispy.
Yeah. You'll see. I mean, there are other designs on here though, like the Pandora collection, like you said, going more into the men's. That's sick.
Yeah, like that's cool.
Super I'd ride clean. That ski. The Line Optic collection. I don't know much about this one, so I'm gonna have to look into that. Yeah, they look pretty decent.
Yeah, so I know that they've had the Line Optics for a while, and they've been a really popular option for like an all-mountain ski.
Oh yeah.
Chelsea said, "Love the name, hate the look."
Yep. I'll tell you the one I would buy. I do like their Sakana Pescado series, and their the Line blades are pretty cool.
Tried a blade. So, I need to try a blade again. I've talked about it on the podcast before.
Yeah.
But I was like, am I on ice skates? These aren't skis.
Right. I mean, that's a ski you buy when you don't want to ski other stuff on the mountain. Yep. Oftentimes, I hate to say that, but it often seems to be that way. It reinvigorates you for when your skiing gets boring and you want to try something different.
Yeah. So, but like the Pescado and the Sakana, I really think like if you're skiing trees, that ski will. You'll love that ski.
It's a good ski.
Tanner said, "Hate the look, but they make me feel hungry." Valid. Super valid.
Go get some bacon.
Yeah. So look, they're pretty standard. Sorry, I'm jumping ahead a little bit. Let's talk about look now.
Yes.
They always change their colors. They always do a great job. Last year they put these rubber bumpers on their heel pieces, and looks like that's continuing into this year. And it's so that when you step on it with your skis, which you shouldn't, but people do it anyways, now it won't hurt your ski.
Yeah. I love it. Look is killing it.
Yeah, they've always.
They don't really have to change much. When we talk look bindings, we stay within the pivot realm. Mm-hmm. Their other bindings are actually good bindings.
Yeah, though. Like the SPX.
The SPX is a great binding. They don't show it on here because they don't change much with it. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of just like a binding they'll pair with their middle level skis. But it does great performance, great downhill performance. But the one that everyone likes and goes to is that pivot.
Yeah.
And they are upgrading with a pivot 13
instead of like that
12. Yeah. I think that's a big deal because
is it full metal? Do you know?
No, it is not full metal. Okay. So the toe piece is different. If we look at these toe pieces, you'll notice this toe piece is the same as the 12 model.
Yep.
Where it has a flex point on the toe to move sideways instead of pivoting the entire toe piece with the heavier models. Right. Love the color schemes. What I like about this 13 though is when you shop bindings across the market, those of you that have been looking at them, you'll notice that all the brands, Marker, Atomic, Salomon, they all tend to have a 13 DIN level setting. And when you saw look and it was at a 12, it like scared people.
It did.
It made them think that they like weren't using like the same spring or something was different. Why couldn't it be up to a 13 level? And it held better than some of the 13s did. Yeah. So I am glad that they are kind of marketing that and changing that a little bit. It's not a huge difference.
Yeah.
When you get boiled down to it.
One DIN setting.
But for people seeing it, it's going to make a big difference for them. So. Yeah. All right. Moving on.
Marker we haven't seen, but I'm sure it's just colorways.
Yep. Nothing really new. I am excited to see some more on Nordica. They are putting out with their boots double BOA as well.
Oh, I'm sure.
So that's going to be a big deal.
Rossignol.
So really, we've got some pictures coming in here. That not anything too crazy.
All right, let me just tell you right now. This boot on the right, I could sell 1 billion of those.
Yeah.
Because why I say that is, you have your older women who want to come in, they want to be comfortable, they want to be able to keep up with their kids, and they want to be warm. that ski boot is going to hit every single one of those criteria.
Yep. Oh, I've had so many men ask me for boots that have like a soft plush liner, and they have like the fluffy, I don't even know what they call it, the Sherpa wool type on the liner there. And I don't know why they don't put it in men's boots. I've had men buy women's boots for that reason. And there's like, I just want the liner, man. Like it's just so comfortable. So
Ethan says the ones on the right remind him of Uggs.
Yeah.
You're spot on.
I love it. I actually dig these boots. I really like what Rossignol is doing going forward. They've had some struggles with their rebranding from the Soul lines to the Sender series. When they changed their Black Ops, they really kind of crippled themselves in some ways. And it seems like they're trying to make some changes to go back to, I don't know,
people loved
to be in their cool Rossignol brand. Like they can rock a good pair of skis
and once again, everyone's doing this double boa. I love the idea of boa on the bottom.
Yeah,
I love that.
I actually really like this. I wouldn't be surprised to see a double boa option come out just to stay up to date with the market. However, the fact that they are giving you that option to do the top buckles and just do a boa on the bottom, I think that's killer.
I think that's amazing.
So,
and those all tracks are comp.
Yeah.
They're great. They're great boots.
I mean, they're making me think about trying some more Rossignol this year. I like their skis, and Rossignol
honestly, that hasn't been my thing in the past.
No, so I'm really excited about them.
All right,
Salomon, the QST series, right? So those that have been listening in the past will know. Looks like we had a comment here too.
Here we go. Tanner says you can sell Uggs to any woman.
You can sell Uggs to men for sure too. Yeah. I had Uggs. I loved them.
Did you really?
Yeah, but they were different than like your typical Ugg look.
Have to hide it.
No, they were like Ugg did like a Converse series that was full leather, and it was sick, and it was the most comfortable shoe I ever had. Like I really miss them. Yeah, I get like teary eyed thinking about how nice those were. So Uggs are great. Okay. Let's hop from Ugg to Salomon.
Here we go.
Salomon. So I'm a big Salomon fan. They've done great stuff, especially with their boot collections, because Salomon shoes really built for an athletic person. They just know how to make their insoles. They know how to design stuff. Looking at their skis here, though, their QST collection is getting an upgrade, really with graphics. So really, I mean, I think they said they are going to be changing. So they have their S Lab QST Blank. That's really the flagship model. Still not much changing there. The 106, 100s and 94s are getting a bit of a new shape and construction.
This is interesting. Each width comes in unisex sizing.
Yeah.
With 2 top sheets. That's actually way cool.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Right.
Because there were a lot of times people would come in, they'd be like, I want the Salomon like QST 98. Do you have it in a 164? I'm like, I don't.
No, because that falls into like the women's sizing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so hearing that they're making the same ski with 2 top sheets in a variety of sizes, that's sweet.
This is a big deal. We've talked about this for a while because women skiers have been limited in the market too because of sizing
100%
and stiffness.
Yep.
Yeah. And so you'll find a lot of really good women skiers that like hit the top of their line in women's skis and they're like, I just can't ride it anymore. It's too soft, or I can't get the size I want. And so they have to ride a men's model, So just the fact that they are kind of blending this to be more unisex, I actually like that and dig that because it gives you options and colorways to mess around with on tried and true type skis. Those 98, 100 models are dope.
So good.
So, and a little change in their rocker profile they mentioned is making the ski a little more playful this year, which is going to be really cool. Yeah. So people have loved the QSTs from the last 2-3 years. Yeah. I mean, the blanks have crushed it. Anyone that's been on them has said like the way they can maintain a small turning radius and also be like a wide ski is just like game changer. So really hop on these. I'm sure the change in construction that they mentioned is making things more like the blanks.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And like if I was a woman skier, to go back to that, and maybe we even have an episode about women's skis and what
we've meant to. So
maybe we have some representation on.
Yeah.
Get a woman on here to help answer some of our questions. But really, from my perspective, I would say QST or Salomon and Nordica and Blizzard for women's skis. They're at the top.
Oh yeah,
for what they're doing. They're really doing some cool stuff.
Yes.
So
yeah, agreed.
Okay.
Let's move on. You'll notice, so really in boots, just throwing in the double boa, not much changing. Salomon boots are just super comfortable, and they've maintained their shape, which I like.
Yeah, I like that too.
Right, because all the other ones kept the same standard shape of a traditional ski boot, and Salomon keeps their low profile in here, which I just dig, and it helps the foot lock down very comfortably. Other than that, not much change in there. So we'll move on.
Technica boots. Mach 1's got a low volume now.
Yeah,
which is cool.
You'll notice they don't have much BOA on the market yet. They do have like the bottom cuff boots, but I haven't seen a double BOA.
I haven't either. And honestly, not mad.
No. So
I like my Technicas. I don't love them.
Yeah. Okay. This is what I wanted to talk about.
Yes. I saw this. Very interesting.
Yes. I am excited, but this is Tyrolia. Okay.
Yes.
Tyrolia mixed with Head. That's their binding company for head skis. But Tyrolia bindings they've been pretty solid for the past few years. Yeah, they're consistent. They have a really nice, easy step-in three-piece heel piece.
Yep.
For their bindings. And this year they are releasing a hybrid backcountry type binding. So it has a removable toe piece so that you can access the tech toe on a boot, be able to hike up, and then put the toe piece back on for your downhill performance.
Yep.
Okay.
They had that for the pivots in the past, but it was a different company that was buying or making the tech toe.
Right.
The insert, I'm pretty sure. I can't remember what it's called. But either way,
yes.
So Head is taking this idea and applying it to their skis, which I think is very interesting, very unique in the fact that only one other company is really doing that. But also, I would be very curious to see how it does because Tyrolias are light bindings, right? It would be a good option to give you good, solid downhill performance, but also cool uphill capabilities.
Yeah. I mean, look at these, looking at the heel piece too. I dig it. So this is a big craze that's been in the market is the hybrid binding.
I don't think it's going anywhere either.
No, it's replacing. I mean, it fully replaced frame type bindings and whatnot. I really like this idea, to be honest. The more I've thought about it, looked at it, I haven't used one in the backcountry, but I am more sold on this type binding than I am on the Shift now.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's a big thing. So a big deal of the Shift, the idea was when it first came out, it really was a look thing where you could see that, the toe piece is the same. All you got to do is flip one piece up and lock it down, right? The issues that came out with the Shift, which I think the Shift 2 resolved some of these, was the AFD marking point, right? And having issues with that AFD adjustment. You would get these clicking if it wasn't adjusted right, and it would the boot would shift up and down in the binding.
I had that, thought I was gonna die.
Yeah, it is terrifying. I've had a lot of issues with that when they first came out. The locking mechanism in the toe piece caused a lot of issues because people couldn't figure out how to lock it completely. And so then just the look of it kind of scared some people. The heel piece does fairly well. It is fairly consistent. The heel riser doesn't get as high as I'd like. But when I talk about these other bindings, what they're hitting on is the true hybrid idea. When you are up on the top of the mountain, you have to take your skis off anyway to pull the skins off. Right. So a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to take the toe piece off my binding, but you have to take the skins off anyway and then stuff them in your bag. So there's really no difference between pulling out, besides maybe extra weight, which isn't that much.
Yeah.
So pulling out the toe piece, locking it back in, and then your toe piece is set for the binding. You don't have to do any adjustments on it,
Good.
So you just get a little more performance, I think, from the removable toe piece than I think you do from the Shift on the uphill side.
Wow. I like that. That makes sense. And, honestly, I really think Like the Shift is cool. It's basically like one of those old Transformer toys you'd get on Christmas,
Yeah.
Where you're like, how the freak do I get this to transform? But I bet something like this is very intuitive.
Yes.
To switch in and out. I bet it's
and that's
simple.
That's the trick. And there were times trying to get these pieces to flip up and to lock in where it's like you couldn't really get it with your glove, and then you had to like take your glove off and mess with it, and like there's snow everywhere, your hands are freezing, and it just became a pain, dude. So the one thing I will say that I hope Tyrolia does and just keeps in mind as going into this market, as people that like I've done backcountry and enjoyed skiing backcountry, we really just keeping good attention on the heel risers, because that it is tricky. If you can't flip up your heel risers easily while walking, it will turn off the buyer completely. It just, that has to be accessible, because having to stop every time to like adjust your comfort on going uphill is a pain. So
I think we're about to the end here.
We are. Only last thing is Volkl.
New colorways, is that it?
New colorways.
Clean.
I dig it.
I dig it.
I've been a Volkl fan. I mean, I'm not like a crazed skier of Volkl. I do like their Revolts. The Mantras are sick. Over here,
the Mantras are like the perfect lawyer ski. You know? They're great, but they're not crazy.
Yes. So, I mean, the Revolt is replacing really like their whole series with like the Kendo and, and really the Mantras. They're really going with this Revolt series as like their freestyle, free ride type all mountain ski. And then the Blaze, which is taking over that more general all mountain ski to fit like the lawyer type ski, if you will. But the Blaze is cool, man.
Wasn't the Blaze like it's super light? You can take it to the backcountry, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And that's really what they're gearing for. So I don't know if these ones, I haven't checked their weights on the new Blaze series. I think they're trying to fit more generic than they are like a backcountry specific with it.
Well, that we've kind of touched on everything that's available for now, but I've got a couple questions for you guys and a goal for us.
Yes.
So the question for you guys is, obviously as we went through, not all the brands have released their stuff yet. Would there be interest in us doing something like this again? Maybe even checking new schoolers. Let us know if that's something you guys would be interested in. And then the other thing, our goal that I'm going to set for us is to go to an outdoor retailer show so that we can really bring you a more first-person take on these new items.
Love that.
So that's going to be our goal. Let us know. And we've loved breaking these down with you.
Yeah. Thank you guys all again for joining us. Give us a like, give us a follow. It goes a long way. Some of our past videos, actually, I mean, I think we had our new records on views on some of them. Which is small, but it's
big for us.
Big steps for really our first year jumping into YouTube from our traditional podcast setting. So thank you guys all again for joining Between Two Slopes, and we'll journey with you next time.